Hey guys, it's Emma. So I figured out what the quest marker over Bowden's head was. Apparently, there's some Feastday DLC that lets you buy all these extra gifts. And so when I was going through my inventory after last episode, I figured out he had a whole ton of stuff for us. So today, it's present time. I made sure to do my research ahead of time because I didn't really know who needed what, per se. But I'm glad I did because it's a pranks and gifts set. So some of the items take away 50 approval with your party members. It was pretty ridiculous. So let's start. Obviously, Liliana has the loot because she's a bard.
That's a wonderful thought. I don't know what to say.
Morrigan has the golden rope necklace.
A fine gift. You have my thanks.
And the Alistair doll. But I think that she can actually inflict injuries on him. I'm not sure.
I am grateful. 'Tis thoughtful indeed.
What does that put her at now? She's still neutral? Why is Liliana neutral? I guess you have to be all the way at the top. We can give her another Alistair doll? Indignities. I'm worried now. Oh, it becomes an item. She can actually play the lute. Okay, Alistair, you get the Grey Warden hand puppet.
I could get used to this, you know.
I love how he gets like this hand puppet to play with. I wonder if we actually get to... Does it... He can play with it. I'm gonna die. It's so cute. Okay, who else do we have? Who's Pretzel? Who gets a stick? Do we get to throw it? Do you just get it? There we go. There we go. And then, of course, Sten gets Kanari.
I am impressed. My thanks.
I wouldn't normally get him anything, but there was just something for him there. So who has the lowest? Morrigan. So what we're going to do is just give
Interesting.
her a bunch of these until she loves us.
Interesting. 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 Interesting.
Max with Morgan. Warm. See, do we have anything else? We have King Merrick's shield. I don't know if we can give that to him yet.
No, bad idea. Awful. Don't do it.
Or Pet Rock. I really wanted to give him Pet Rock. But apparently it's not for him. Some of these are specific. Oh, hey, I can give him this. Maybe not? Okay. So now... Perfect. Oh, look. I guess this means that they do better when you reach certain levels of approval. Or maybe it's the gifts that bestow it? But this is a lot. Massive dexterity. Massive magic. Sweet. Okay. So now, oh, when we got that plus coercion skill,
You and your friends are formidable folk, indeed. It's good to have you along on the road.
I wanted to try it if we could get to this persuasion.
Well, if you're really interested, I suppose it wouldn't hurt to tell you. I am originally from Orzammar, the famed dwarven city that lies beneath the stately Frostback Mountains. I was a merchant there, too. Merchant caste. These things are in the blood, you know. You can't just leave them behind. I ran a fairly successful business. Rare artifacts, you know. Old things, grand things. The nobles loved them. Reminded them of the lost glory days, I suppose.
Why did you leave?
One day, a noble woman came to my store. She looked around for a bit and then started shrieking in dismay. Apparently, she believed that a pair of braces I had for sale once belonged to her brother. He'd been lost in a cave-in, you see, while on an expedition to clear out the Darkspawn from one of the tunnels running close to the city. They were made specially for him. They're unique, she shrieked. He stole them from my poor brother's corpse. She had me arrested on the spot, of course. Nobles, they're touchy like that.
What happened then?
Well, I didn't steal them. You see, I'd been paying these castless thugs to venture out into the deep roads for me. The lost tigers, they're full of things that people left behind. Sometimes you can find a treasure, something worth a little gold.
I mean, better to do something with them than leave them to rot.
That's exactly how I see it. The noblewoman, she wasn't too happy with the theft of her brother's braces. I don't know what they planned for me, and I didn't want to find out. Bribed the guard that was watching me and took off for the surface first opportunity I got. Never looked back.
Fascinating story. Thank you.
You're quite welcome. Now, is there anything the boy or I can get you?
You didn't mention your son in the tale.
Ah, yes. I'm married to a fine woman back in Denerim, it's true. She'd give me a son if she could, but that's not likely to ever be. Sandal here. I found him in the deep roads years ago. Abandoned, I think, and he was never quite right in the head. I took him in, and I brought him with me when I came here to the surface. He may not be my blood, true, but I think of him as one.
We left Orzammar.
That's right, boy. Maybe one day we'll see it again.
That was very generous of you.
It's not as if I don't benefit, mind you. Turns out the boy's a natural working with enchantments. He might have even been lyrium-addled. I never thought of that before, to be honest. Happens sometimes. He can work an enchantment into just about anything, however, given some time. Could probably open his own shop, if he knew how.
Enchantment.
Well, he does seem to enjoy it, at least.
But where do these goods come from? Not the deep roads.
Look, we don't rob people, all right? We don't take things from people that need them. The things in the lost tigers, what good did they do lying there? I brought them back to Orzammar, where people could look at them and remember. It's not all that different up here. There are places long abandoned by the humans everywhere. Even more now with the Darkspawn coming.
That's fine. What do you mean?
People flee from the Blight with good reason, but they forget things. Things with value and meaning. They leave them behind because they're frightened and desperate. And sometimes, my boy and I, we find our way to these places before the Horde descends, and we save these things. I take them away so the Darkspawn don't get them. Is that so bad? They destroy everything they touch.
I suppose it's better than having the Darkspawn take it all.
That's what I tell myself, too. Ah, these are dark times indeed. Dark times, my friend.
I should go.
Of course. Good fortune to you and yours.
Goodbye.
Finally got a story. Okay, so, should I try for any more chat options now that we've given them gifts and had different approval ratings? I'm gonna try it. I'll start with Sten, because I don't really care
You
about
are
him.
not quite as callow as I thought. That is unexpected.
Oh, also note, I did install a few more mods. I did one to improve the colors of the game. I did one that gives extra hairstyles, although it's more for character creation, but it was necessary for the Dalish one that I did that kind of beautifies the Dalish. And I have one that whitens their teeth a little because they're pretty bad. Callow, You thought I was Callow?
You sound surprised. You must have heard this before. You'll get over it. Eventually.
Why did you come to Ferelden?
I was sent to be the eyes of the Antom. The Arishok asked what is the Blight. By his curiosity, I am now here.
Don't you have to report back then?
Yes.
When exactly were you going to do that?
Never. I cannot go home.
Why not?
It doesn't matter now. Can we move on? We keep the Darkspawn waiting.
What were you doing in that cage?
Does it matter? Very well. I caged myself. A weak mind is a deadly foe, as you are no doubt aware.
Are you saying you put yourself in that cage?
I know that my failures were my own. I came to your lands with 7 of the Beresad, my brothers, to seek answers about the Blight. We made our way across the Ferelden countryside without incident, seeing nothing of the threat we were sent to observe. Until the night we camped by Lake Calenhad. They came from everywhere. The earth beneath our feet, the air above us. Our own shadows harbored the Darkspawn. I saw the last of the creatures cut down, too late. I fell.
What happened to the other Canary?
I am told no others survived. I don't know how long I lay on the battlefield among the dead, nor do I know how the farmers found me. I only know that when I woke I was no longer among my brothers, and my sword was gone from my hand.
What did you do?
I searched for it, and when that failed I asked my rescuers what had become of it.
Did the farmers know where it was?
They said they found me with nothing.
Did you believe them?
I did. I knew they didn't have the blade. They had no reason to lie to me. I panicked. Unthinking, I struck them down.
You panicked over a lost blade.
That sword was made for my hand alone. I have carried it from the day I was set into the Beresad. I was to die wielding it for my people. Even if I could cross Ferelden and Tevinter unarmed and alone to bring my report to the Arishok, I would be slain on sight by the Antam. They would know me as soulless, a deserter. No soldier would cast aside his blade while he drew breath.
Couldn't you search for it?
If I knew where to look, it would be in my hand now.
Well, where did you fight the Darkspawn?
Near Lake Calenhad.
Don't worry, we'll find it.
Perhaps those words are empty, but thank you all the same.
I mean, we might as well be helpful where we can, right? I mean, I don't particularly like Sten, and he's obviously, like... I don't want to say crazed monster, but... It was extremely illogical and unreasonable to just kill the people who rescued you because you didn't have your sword. You baby. Let's try Liliana.
I must say that traveling with you has opened my eyes to how wrong some are about the Dalish. You are not at all savage, and I've not seen you snatch away women and children without provocation.
My people are often misunderstood. We're rather used to it.
If my people were more open to interacting with yours, we could do away with such misperceptions.
Unfortunately, it's not that easy.
I hear many city folk talk about how wonderful it must be to live simpler lives, close to the earth. They could learn from the Dalish.
We do live quite close to the earth.
How marvelous that must be. I have met very few elves, and those that I have met were pledged to the service of Orlesian nobles.
Slaves, you mean?
They are serfs. There is no slavery in Orlais.
It is the same thing.
Elven servants are well compensated for their services. Some of them live richer lives than humans. A well-trained elven servant is highly valued in Orlais. They are nimble and dexterous, and many people find them pleasing to look at.
Like a prize-winning animal?
No, I did not mean it that way. Oh, my words were clumsily chosen. I did not mean to offend. I am sorry.
I am Elven, but more than that, I am a person.
Of course. I am sorry if I implied otherwise. Thank you. You have given me a lot to think about.
I was really worried about that because I still want to be true to the character, and there's a lot of inequality with the elves and Thetis. And so I don't want to gloss over that for the sake of retaining approval points. And I'm glad I held true to character. Let's see if we can talk about anything else.
Have I ever told you I really like the way you wear your hair?
It's because we wear it the same. My hair? Thank you.
It's very nice and it suits you. Simple. Not like the elaborate hairstyles we wore in Orlais. They involved flowers, ribbons, jewels. One year, feathers were all the rage, and Lady Elise decided she needed to outdo everyone else, and actually wore live songbirds in her voluminous hair. The chirping was quite charming for a while, but you must realize, terrified little birdies often have loose bowels.
Oh my god. Poor birds.
Yes, I don't envy them. She never washed her hair. But I was trying to say something nice to you, wasn't I? Oh, forgive me. My mind wanders so. It's just that I feel so comfortable talking to you, like I could say anything and you wouldn't judge me.
Well, we are friends, aren't we?
Yes, very much so. I haven't felt this close to anyone in a long time. I really enjoy your company.
Is this where we need to draw a line? You are a treasured friend, Leliana.
Thank you. I am honored that you feel that way.
I need to save after every time I do a conversation. I'm so worried.
Something I can help with?
There we go. Nothing. Never mind. I wonder if Sten has extra ones. I didn't even care to check twice.
You called.
I have a question.
I am hardly surprised.
Do you find Ferelden very strange?
To put it lightly, no one has a place here. Your farmers wish to be merchants. The merchants dream of being nobles, and the nobles become warriors. No one is content to be who they are.
Don't the Canari ever want to change their lot in life?
What does that accomplish? The farmer who buys a shop is never a merchant. He is always a farmer turned merchant. He carries his old life with him as a turtle carries its shell.
He might be happier.
Happiness is fragile. Nothing can be built upon it that will last. Only duty endures.
You don't think that happiness is important?
You can learn to find it in doing your duty, in serving your people. There is no need to search for it. Shall we move on?
Is there anything you do like about Ferelden?
There is interesting food here. You have a thing. It doesn't have a word in the Kunari tongue. Little baked things like bread, but sweet and crumbly.
Cookies?
Yes, we have no such things in our lands. This should be remedied.
You sound a bit homesick.
Perhaps. It's strange to be in a crowd and hear a language that is not your own. To see faces that are and aren't like yours. I miss the smells of Saharon. Tea and incense and the sea. Ferelden smells of wet dogs.
Pretzel. I wanted to discuss, well, I guess, we want to continue that conversation, so we'll get back to that one. Dogs don't smell that bad.
Skunks don't mind the smell of other skunks either. Shall we move on?
I wanted to discuss something that you mentioned.
Speak, then.
That's enough for now.
Then I suggest we move on.
I have a question.
I am hardly surprised.
Actually, never mind.
Very well.
Let's go.
As you wish.
They give me the option to, like, delve deeper in, but then there's no content. So she just looks retarded. Do we get anything for the pretzel? Happy Bark. Pet pretzel. He's already at 100 approval, so nothing really changes with him. Oh, I do want to save game for Alistair. We'll just save over the last one.
You know, maybe this isn't the best time to be thinking about this, but I've something to ask you. Chances are we'll be heading to Denerim soon. And when we're there, I wonder if we might be able to look someone up.
This wouldn't be some former lover of yours, would it?
A former what? No! Do you honestly think I would suggest we go see together? No! The thing is, I have a sister, a half-sister. I told you about my mother, right? She was a servant at Redcliffe Castle and she had a daughter. Only I never knew about her. I don't think she knew about me either. They kept my birth a secret after all. But after I became a Grey Warden, I did some checking and, well, I found out she's still alive. In Denerim.
Have you contacted her?
No. I thought about writing her, but I never did. And then we were called down to Ostagar, and I never got the chance. She's the only real family I have left. The only family not also mixed up in the whole royal thing. I've just been thinking that maybe it's time I went to see her. With the blight coming and everything, I don't know if I'll ever get another chance to see her. Maybe I can help her. Warn her about the danger, I don't know.
If you want to, we could try.
Could we? I'd appreciate that. If something happened to her and I never went to at least see her, I don't know if I could forgive myself. Her name is Goldana, and I think she remarried but still lives just outside the alienage. If we're in the area, then, well, it's worth a look.
We are raking in approval today. Yeah.
So, all this time we've spent together, you know, the tragedy, the brushes with death, the constant battles with the whole blight looming over us. Will you miss it once it's over?
Ugh. There's some... Miss the constant battles? Or miss you?
I know it might sound strange, considering we haven't known each other for very long, but I've come to care for you a great deal. I think maybe it's because we've gone through so much together. I don't know. Or maybe I'm imagining it. Maybe I'm fooling myself. Am I? Fooling myself? Or do you think you might ever feel the same way about me?
I'm tempted to do the one that's pertinent to our elven heritage, but I don't want to sound like an ass when I say it. Let's try, and if it goes bad, we just go back to the save. You think I would care for a human man?
I don't know. I sure hope so.
I don't know if it... Oh, why the fuck not? I think I already do.
So I fooled you, did I? Good to know. That wasn't too soon, was it?
It was a little soon, friend. I had to pick this one just because it's hilarious. I'm not sure. I need more testing to be sure.
Well, I'll have to arrange that then, won't I? Maker's breath, but you're beautiful. I am a lucky man. Now, let's get back to what we were up to before, lest I forget why we're here.
Look at that little face. It's so cute. Rose is gonna kill me. So I have my friend who is kind of like my guide along these adventures, and she's quite fond of Alistair, and we have our this is gonna get interesting. Is that all your chat options?
Your desire is my command.
I have some questions.
Of course.
Whew, we did have a lot. If you were raised in the Chantry, have you never...
Never what? Had a good pair of shoes?
Look at the smugness on his face. He knows exactly what we're asking. You know what I mean.
I'm not sure I do. Have I never seen a basilisk? Ate jellied ham? Have I never licked a lamppost in winter?
That eyebrow, though. He knows exactly what we're doing. Now you're making fun of me.
Make fun of you, dear lady. Perish the thought. Well, tell me, have you ever licked a lamppost in winter?
What? I don't know if that's a euphemism or not. I won't do this option, but there's definitely. I've licked my share of lampposts and then some. That's not what I meant, and you know it.
Oh, so that's what we're talking about. I admit I've never had a woman just come out and ask me like this, that's for sure. I myself never had the pleasure. Not that I haven't thought about it, of course. But, you know.
That intonation, though. There are so many good options right now. But I feel like sometimes, you know how the options tend to go from like kind, good, approval stuff, and that tapers downwards. There's one that kind of teases him, but I don't know like how bad that's gonna be. You've never had the opportunity?
Well, living in the Chantry is not exactly a life for rambunctious boys. They taught me to be a gentleman, especially in the presence of beautiful women such as yourself. That's not so bad, is it?
You think I'm beautiful?
Of course you are, and you know it. You're ravishing, resourceful, and all those other things you probably hurt me for not saying.
I would never hurt you.
Nor I, you. Let us be off then, lest your risque talk make my ears blush.
I think this is a little bit more than I bargained for. I don't know if we have any
Your
other chat
desire
options.
is my command.
I'd like to discuss some private.
Well, we're in camp. Now's as good a time as any to talk, right?
Some of these are really bad. So these are all the relationship options. I'm not sure I'm ready for that first one, but man, I feel bad. Because, I mean, Alistair's great and all. But... why not? Why not?
Oh, you want to right now? Well, who am I to refuse?
There were mods for like cuter kisses because like his like face like blocks or her arrows or whatever. Now that we've seen some, I might get that add-on just to see the difference or that modification. Okay, so I'm not gonna toy with those anymore. I know what they say. We'll leave them right there. Okay, so Morgan is our last, and I'm definitely gonna save before this just in case something terrible happens. So let's save the game. New save. What is it that people call him? Okay.
I await your command.
That's much friendlier. So life in the wilds must have been fairly lonely.
At times, perhaps. A world full of people and buildings and things was all very foreign to me. If I wished companionship, I ran with the wolves and flew with the birds. If I spoke, 'twas to the trees.
That's so cool. That sounds wonderful.
For a time, but one can only remain a child for so long. I recall the first time I crept beyond the edge of the wilds. I did so in animal form, remaining in the shadows and watching these strange townsfolk from afar. I happened upon a noblewoman by her carriage, adorned in sparkling garments the likes of which I had never before seen. I was dazzled. This, to me, seemed what true wealth and beauty must be. I snuck up behind her and stole a hand mirror from the carriage. 'Twas encrusted in gold and crystalline gemstones, and I hugged it to my chest with delight as I sped back to the wilds.
What happened then?
Flemeth was furious with me. I was a child and had not yet come into my full power, and I had risked discovery for the sake of a pretty bauble. To teach me a lesson, Flemeth took the mirror and smashed it upon the ground. I was heartbroken.
But you were just a child.
And a foolish one. Flemeth was right to break me of my fascination. Beauty and love are fleeting and have no meaning. Survival has meaning. Power has meaning. Without those lessons, I would not be here today, as difficult as they might have been.
But you don't need to live that way any longer.
Do I not? I am still an apostate mage, even if I have left the wilds. The Darkspawn are yet undefeated. No, there is much that remains. To return to your original question, perhaps my time in the wilds was indeed lonely, but such was how it had to be. I find myself at times wondering what might have become of the girl with the beautiful golden mirror, but such fantasies have no place amidst reality.
Whew. We didn't lose any approval. Now I need to find her a mirror. Let's try this
I
again.
await your command.
I'd like to discuss something personal.
We are in camp, so 'tis as good a time as any.
Oh, no, never mind. Is that it?
I await your command.
I'd like to ask you something.
So, full of questions, are you?
Okay, that was a good laugh, right? Is there anything that can be done for a possessed mage?
'Tis the child abomination you speak of from the haunted castle? If what you seek is to remove the demon from the child without harming the child, there is a way indeed. There is a connection between the child and the demon, one which can be followed to the demon's true form within the Fade. There, the demon can be battled directly. Only a mage may enter the Fade. It requires lyrium and a group of mages to cast the ritual, neither of which we have, yes? And had we those things, it would still fall on one mage alone to defeat the demon. No simple task, but there you have it.
Going good.
I await your command.
I'd like to ask you something.
So, full of questions, are you?
Tell me, are you really Flemeth's daughter?
I assume you were actually asking whether Flemeth herself gave birth to me. Truly, I do not know. I once asked Flemeth that very question, and she merely laughed at me. 'Tis not inconceivable that she could capture a chastened man, or perhaps change to a more attractive form to attract him willingly. I find it more difficult to imagine her with child.
She was not always as old as she is now, was she?
As a matter of fact, I remember her being younger once. She had black hair, much like my own, long and lustrous. But how could that be if she is centuries old? Has she become wizened only recently? Or are the tales of her legend only that, and nothing more? I do know the tales of Flemeth having many daughters, even though I have never met another. And Flemeth has always treated me as her blood.
Does that mean you love her?
What an odd thing to say. Why must love enter into the equation? Flemeth taught me everything I needed to learn. How to survive, the meaning of power, the truth of men. If other mothers do not teach these things, then I believe them the lesser.
Is there no place for nurturing and love?
Room for coddling and weakness? Why should such things be desirable? To indulge in love is to indulge in delusion. Surely a Grey Warden such as yourself does not believe otherwise.
I guess we can always give her another book if we lose reputation, because I don't want to stray from character again. I do, in fact, believe otherwise.
I see. Well, we all have our weaknesses, don't we?
Yeah, I figured we'd get it for that one. Well, let's go fix that. I love being able to be, like,
You and your friends are
real,
formidable folk, indeed. It's good to have you along on the road.
and then still,
I'm sure you'll be pleased with the goods my boy and I have collected, and with your discount.
remedy our mistakes. Does he have a limited number? Sugar cake. Sugar cake sounds good. Let's do sugar cake. Just buy a whole bunch. 'Cause everyone loves cake. Awesome. So, Morrigan. Oh my goodness. He adores me. Ooh. Oh, it's because we had it maxed. Here, my dear, have a sugar cake.
Interesting.
99 works for me. Okay, perfect. So, now that we've spent our entire time giving people gifts and talking to them, I'm going to go ahead and cut it. Sorry that we didn't really get out to the mages yet, but we will. We got that valuable information from Morgan, although she didn't tell us anything that we didn't already know. But it really has solidified the fact that she's probably the one going in there, and that's definitely what we need to do next. Now that all this is settled, that guy's quest marker is out of the way. It was for the feast day. Because remember, we were mousing over it like forever ago, and it definitely said feast day something. It's because we bought all those gifts. And so now his checkbox is finally marked off. So, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. And I will see you next time.